Hello, welcome to another episode of the Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 163 weeks of great conversations. This is episode for September 13, 2024. Welcome to Friday the 13th, Open Lines Friday today. I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for PlantinApp, joined from PlantinApp side by Patrick Anderson, Technical Success Manager, and we are glad you're here. This is an event we do every Friday, almost all of them, and we get together and talk about what's going on with low code and our projects and bring your challenges and techniques, and we share them back and forth. So all skill levels welcome meeting. We record all of them and put them on YouTube. So you can go to youtube.com/PlantinApp or use that QR code right there, and it'll get you to the full list of them. We always run this agenda. We say hello because it's a very friendly group, and then we'll go around the campfire with things like first call and anything you submit in advance. And then we'll touch on any of these other areas. And if anyone's interested, we'll hang around for a few minutes after we turn off the recording after the hour, and we'll go into our afterglow segment. So please do engage with us. You can submit questions and topics in advance. We call those campfire logs using this QR code, or simply send an email to support@plantinap.com. Good Friday, all.
Hello, happy Friday.
Morning.
I thought I would mention quickly before we dive into first call that do a quick check-in on version 126. It's been out since June 13, so what is that? Exactly 3 months now. Slow adoption. We're up to about 20% of the people that between version 125, version 126, about 20% adoption. And this week we came up with a known issue that if you use the drag and drop functionality with listings, that that is broken at some point in 126. I thought I'd show you exactly what that looks like. So drag and drop isn't the ability that you've got a bunch of cards, a bunch of rows in a data table, and you can move things around like this. But when you let it go, we get this nice error like this. So this is kind of a negative impact on one of our clients. They reported it, and it's in what we call code review. They found the solution. They've submitted it for approval, and then so I would anticipate that by tomorrow or Monday we will have a hotfix out for this one. So that will hopefully clear that up. And with that, we'll jump to first call. What's on your mind? Or what have you been working on? Any interesting projects? Patrick, I'm going to, as always, try and put you on the spot a little bit. What is it that you're working on? You mentioned you're working on a mystery as well.
um, yeah, I am trying to make a Razor script that's passing back a link, and the link is based on whether or not the type passed in is a folder or a file, and I have an if statement in there, and the file token is processing whether or not um, the type is a file. So if the ID is not an existing file, I'm getting a value cannot be null error message. And I guess I hadn't realized in the past that that even if something's in an if block in a Razor script, it's still going to be evaluated. It doesn't get put into the output, but it's still going to be evaluated. So I don't know if anybody out there has experienced that and found a way around it or not, but that's what I'm trying to deal with.
So that you actually have your Razor script has a token in it that's being expanded.
Yeah, it's trying to, so if this razor script, if the type is a folder, um, even though the variable for getting the file link is in an if block, that token is still being evaluated. And if the folder ID that's passed in isn't equivalent to a valid file, I'm getting um, the whole token is erroring and I don't get my folder link, which is what I'm expecting. I don't get it because the file link token is still evaluating.
What I'm thinking is that is it the case that tokens get evaluated before the Razor script even starts?
It might be, yeah.
I think that's the case. If you have a token in a Razor script, I think they evaluate and then that becomes the script, unless you use the other syntax for. And I'm very bad with Razor scripts, but um, some tokens, things that are in the context, can be accessed by way of alternate um, syntax.
Yeah, using the actual .NET Nuke API for this particular one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try next.
Yeah, interesting. All right, always something.
Yeah.
All right, we've given you a chance. What's your first call? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to move on then. So on Wednesday, we did something unusual. We did one episode of Low Code Cafe talking about the Open LDAP, and it was completed in one episode, which is unusual. So I'm going to put that one on the chat if anybody wants to see it. And then for anybody following along, here's the QR code. You can get to this episode. We've put it out on YouTube. But the whole idea was that we want to do provide some documentation on different methods of authentication besides using username and password. This is the common DNN functionality. And so if you wanted to to allow people to log into your system using LDAP, you can enable that, and that video shows exactly how to do it. Anyone have curiosity about LDAP? Anybody that was at the webinar have any questions about that I didn't cover during that? So just for anybody who hadn't seen it, this is the result that we came up with. And I'm going to sign in incognito to the site. So by going incognito, I'm not logged in. And what we did is added Open LDAP the ability to type in a username and password. And I guess I should show behind the curtain first. If we look on the site and look at the users, we only have one user set up. Notice that it's not Isaac Newton. If we go to sign in as Isaac Newton with the super secret password of password, because it's Open LDAP, it goes out to the Open LDAP server and figures out that Isaac is allowed to log in, and it gets his first name and last name and display name and authorizes him on the system, so that now when we refresh this, it comes in as Isaac Newton. So the LDAP server is is being our gatekeeper and also providing information to allow to provide the information that DNN needs to be able to authenticate them. Anybody do anything with other alternate methods of authentication?
I'm doing something similar with Active Directory, where I have an Active Directory server that we're querying and come back. My technique, you define the user in the application and set all the roles, and then if they're not defined, they don't get added in. So I have to go watch your video now to see what you're doing differently.
Well, the in our case, now I'm sorry, sticking with your case for a moment. So you're going through Active Directory. Are you using our tool or some other server request kind of method? How are you talking to the Active Directory?
Another server request method that, because it's used for some other apps that makes a call based on the Windows user that's accessing the server.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you're probably so if I recall your application, they're coming from that other system, and you want to provide a seamless experience to come use your server, right?
Correct.
And so that's a slightly different use case. The case that we were dealing with and solving is we're all using the same. The assumption is they're all using the same LDAP server for authentication, but they still have to come to our site and sign in with their same username and password. You're trying to provide that nice seamless experience, and that would be an interesting case to do. But the short version of what you'll see in the video is that in the form where we log in, that their data is being returned by the call to the LDAP server, and because we're using an action, there's actually a user login by Open LDAP action, but it returns two things: whether or not they're a new user, and also whatever JSON comes back from the server. So we're using the JSON that comes back from the server to querying that, and then doing things like update a user profile with the information that comes back. So I would assume, depending on what your server returns back when you do that call, and perhaps any other call you can do to acquire information, you can do things like setting the roles or the profile properties, display name, first name, last name. There's a ton of things that you can use with user profile, plus any custom stuff that you have in your app.
Now, in your solution, are you just generating a random password for the account, or and then not using it?
Great question. So what we're doing, the action, I'm going to say, I don't know. It's either generating a random one or not generating one. But what we do behind the scenes is there's a platform user prefix. So when they sign in as Newton, we create a user called OL Newton. This stands for Open LDAP, but you could have any prefix. Point is, we don't really tell them or what their user ID is on the system, or promote them using a username password. So if you were to I would say yes, it's random, and they're not gonna know. They're not gonna have access to being able to do a password reset, that kind of thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I mean that's the same implementation that we've done. Is they do not know their username and password, basically. What our solution does let them do, or let us do, is have admin accounts that still use DN and security for configuration and stuff.
Right.
Because we can still go in and create a standard user.
Exactly. So I think again, so as people log in, they're getting this creation of custom username. with this OL prefix, so they're designated as completely different. And if we look at the users, there are for DNN, there are administrative users that are not in that circumstance. So these people wouldn't know, and these people would know their passwords. But what you said makes me want to try. If you had two systems and being able to pass somebody from one into the other without having to re-authenticate, basically if the link had something that identified them, got to figure out how to do that to keep them from having to re-authenticate on the next system. Basically have to pass enough information and do it securely, but and let them bypass and log in. But probably still have to authenticate against that LDAP server to make sure that it's still allowed, still active, pick up any information that's changed. This solution, every time they log in, it updates their display name and first name, last name, all the different properties. So all the maintenance of that information would be done at the LDAP server level. Anyway, I was interested to learn about how to do that. So I love it that in my role for being able to do low-code cafes, I mean, I have to learn something new, at least one thing new every 2 weeks. So hopefully that'll be some value to somebody else. In the process, I created some documentation about how to do that, and the plan is in our documentation. If you don't have this, learn.plananapp.com. We'll be adding a security section here on the menu with authentication, and then as we do, like we just completed this with Open LDAP, and so Open LDAP will appear in there, and then we have others on the roadmap to do, for example, passkey and Active Directory and different methods, and so we'll add and continue to expand our documentation on those as I do these webinars. Good. Oh, Mark, yes, happy to do that. Let's get you there.
Sorry, I had to drop out there. I was having some technical difficulties. I'm interested in what you're talking about. I have a number of systems where I've got people coming and going to the website, and I need to know who they are. Sometimes with their knowledge that I knowing who they are, and sometimes with it doesn't matter to them. So what you're talking about is very useful to me.
Good. Yeah, in the demo, you'll find that we used the hello, welcome to another edition. Whoa, my goodness!
Was that me? I think that was me. I clicked on
I'm
your
hearing
link.
myself again.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah, we have our own at PlanTanApp. We have our own proprietary, or not proprietary, but private LDAP server. And at first I was going to use that, and then I found that Open LDAP had a test server essentially, so that you could try that out with all the mathematicians that you saw there. So it's nice to be able to try out and use that without having to set up your own LDAP server and then figure out, later on at some point you'll have to set that up. But something that you can learn on without having to set one up. Okay, moving
Great.
on. So yeah, we ran the first ever Campfire games, talking about improving the inline help, and so far we have but one winner. Mark submitted one improvements request, so by default there's no voting required. You're the winner. So we will set you up with a keychain. The idea here, though, was that we have we know that our inline help text, that sometimes it was it could be improved, whether it was written by a non-native English speaker or whether it was written in a hurry or things have changed over time. But the idea is that if you look at our inline help on certain things, it could provide more information or be more helpful. So if there was, we were challenging you if there was one that you that really bothered you to submit that in our feature request area, and then we would take a look at them and vote on them. So Mark submitted that it bothers him that he can't get to inline, that the core tokens isn't very available in the spot where he needs it. And so he suggests, plus there's, so for example, you're sending an email and you need to know some of these things like how to do date time now and what the username is and all these other things. And so we took note of that, and there is an answer. We're working for that particular one. We're working on making links to our documentation and links to the token engine where you can try out and learn about tokens, make those more accessible. So I don't think it really is going to be a case where we're going to be changing a lot of inline help, but we are going to provide more information in that area. And that's a project that we're working on. What I was pointing out in my response to him on that, and I'm not sure how many people know about or use this, so I'm just going to point it out. In our areas on the configuration menu, there's this question mark that if you click, it'll give you some, I mean, it might be a link to a documentation or to a video, and so provide extra information. Our plan is to move or to add this same question mark functionality into places like the forms administration, so that, let me find it here. If we were editing a form, let's find a form. Basic action form here, but the idea is that that question mark would be moved to this administration area in all the different things. And the nice thing about this is that this is a dynamic call saying go find the related information, and it's not hard coded in the product. We, the management team, support team, can add links here. So my thought is that we will have that question mark, we'll have a click box, and so we can add links both to the documentation that tells about the tokens that Mark was interested in, but also I think we can add a link that opens up the tokens area in a new tab, which I think would be useful because, like for the purpose of tokens, they're documented internally. For core tokens, when you click on them, you can see what's available. Plus, there's the test tokens, so you can interact with it, see if you can find something that is suiting your purpose, and then just copy and paste it back into your project. For example, something like that. So yeah, that's our plan to get those dynamic links into the form builder, and then and listings and tabs and the different admin screens, so that we can get more information to you at the point where you need it. Let's see, we covered that one. So yeah, thanks. This is a winner, so we don't even have to vote. But we'll let the contest go on a little bit longer. If anybody wants to participate, if I find something that is that needs improvement, and the idea is just show us what it says and show us what it really should say, and we'll get that done in the product so that it's better for you and for everyone else. All right. Ah, so I'm just getting messages. You can see them there on the screen. That and so I got to go check and see if what it looks like. But in our UI components on listings, we had added these listing tokens. So this is all the different things that are. This was added recently to the product, to the help desk, showing all the different things that are available when you're, all the tokens that you could look at when you're doing a listing execute action, having an action stack. And Rado was just telling me that the forms tokens have now been merged. Yep, this just got added to the documentation here moments ago. And so all the different things that are available to you are now documented. And so this is where we want to point you to. So very timely that Radu's letting me know he got it done. So good.
Dale, those look really useful. How would you suggest the direct route to find them?
I would always say, I mean, it's learn.plananapp.com and look at our documentation. We are investing more. I mean, I add to the documentation. I mean, it's not my job, right? It's not my daily, everyday thing, but there's typically 1 or 2 articles every week or two. So just being familiar with what's in there. So documentation, and then forms and listings are user interface components. So if you want to learn more about forms, they're there as forms tokens. The search is really pretty good too. So if you know what you're looking for, I think sure whether this so for example, referrers being found in the listing tokens. Yeah, so that's there.
The form tokens may not have been indexed yet for that search.
That's what I'm thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
So he just got done.
Mhm.
But like time zone offset for the search again. And I guess so. I knew that listings had time zone. I wasn't aware that forms had time zone offset too. So that's useful to if you're trying to build a global app. So just knowing that these things are out here and what they are and what you can do with them, we're trying to make that better. Anyway, to your question, learn.plananapp.com.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I checked and there were no new contributions to low-code Campfire, the website where we share techniques. So nothing new to add there. I try to add something every week, but I didn't get it.
So Dale, this is Mark again. I did have a question for you. And I don't know if you want to field it on the air, but I'm trying to make a PDF with the make PDF action. I'm sorry, I need to back up. I'm making a spreadsheet with the list to spreadsheet for Excel action, and I would like the one looks very much. It is a well-formed URL, and I would like that to be clickable in the Excel spreadsheet. And I can accept the answer of no if that's what the answer is. I was just wondering if you guys know anything about doing that.
So are you finding that the answer for me is I don't know. Are you finding, for example, you're creating a hyperlink with HTML and it's not clickable?
That's true. It shows up with the HTML hyperlink, like the anchor tag, and the whole tag is there.
Well, so in the absence of anything else to talk about, we can test that out. Let's see what we, because well, first of all, I'm going to look at making sure a couple of things here. So, let's look in Campfire. And PDF.
Excel.
Yeah, but you're trying to create a PDF, right? That's the.
I'm sorry, I changed gears on you. Yeah, I did say PDF at first, but I really meant to say Excel.
Ah. Okay. Well, then I really don't know. But,
That's a horse of another color.
well, so let's do. Patrick, do you know anything about this one?
No, I'm sorry. Could you repeat what the exact issue is with the Excel? I missed that part.
Well, you know, when you create an Excel from a list, it puts the data in the columns and rows. One of the columns is full of URLs, and they have query string parameters attached that would make it really easy to for someone to get exactly what I need them to get when they click on it. So I want it to be a link in Excel, not just a clickable link, not just text.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to know how to make it a clickable link in Excel. And I'm not sure that it's built for that. Hence the question.
So I might try. Let's try a little reverse engineering. If we were to do it in, how do we hyperlink it in?
I think it's the menu insert link. Yeah.
So we have it this way, and it works.
And it works. Good test.
All right, so good test.
Success already.
So this is going to be our save to hate this interface. Where's this go? Save as this PC.
You're going to make it a CSV?
Oh, I thought I'd keep it as an Excel. You said you were doing Excel, right? Documents.
I am. Yeah. Doesn't the process make a CSV instead of an Excel? I thought maybe it did.
You mean the export?
Yeah.
Depends on the action you choose. You have an Excel action and a CSV action, and
Okay.
definitely in a CSV action that's not going to work. I think so you have all the formatting for a link and everything, and that just all appears as text inside the cell. Yes. And yeah.
Yes. And I am working with Excel. Yes.
Yeah, you're using the Excel action. Okay.
Yes. Well.
All right. So what my thinking here is I'm going to import this thing that I just created, and then I'm going to turn right around and export it, see if it preserves it, because that's going to give us the knowledge about whether it can be done, and then we can follow along. That's I mean, I'm playing here, but
That's the way we learn. Now you got me wondering if I use the CSV action, but I'm pretty sure I used the Excel action.
Anyone following along, this would just be a general technique for being able to import an Excel. So we're going to have this input Excel file that's going to, it has to be, will handle, what is it? XLS. X is the file type that it's going to accept, and we'll put it to /temp. That's where it's going to go, and we'll rename it. We don't care. So we've got a button that's going to do, I'm sorry, import and export all at once. That's the role. We will we've got the Excel file is coming in through the single file upload. So really we just want to export to Excel, right? Well, no, I guess create list.
You know, Dale, I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but I'm creating my list from SQL and then exporting it as Excel.
Sure. And I'm just trying to learn the technique. So let's do create
Okay.
list from Excel, and the we're going to do it from the input Excel, and it's going to be called Excel list, and use the first row, include all fields. We want to do sheet 1, I'm sure. Let's see on my thing. What was this? Yeah, sheet 1. So now we have a list called input. It's called Excel list, and we want to add another action that is export. What's the action? Create Excel from list. There it is. That wasn't hard. So I'm going to go with Excel list, include all fields. And create. Output, we're going to put it in folder /temp, and the relative we'll get an absolute URL here. With me so far. Download. Download. See if we got it in the first time or not.
Does that ever happen? Right on the first time?
No. So that's the book 1 that I started with. It's there it is. Enable editing. Find an app link. So it removed the link. So our outputter didn't know what either. We lost it on the input, which is probably not what happened, but we certainly didn't get it out on the output. So didn't help you at all. But I think maybe we've confirmed that our outputter doesn't know how to do that.
Well, you know, knowing that it's not going to work that way is progress. And we need to do it some other way. Thank you for looking into it.
Absolutely. But now, if there's any other questions and we want to move on, that's fine. I'm kind of curious now what the list looks like. Whether it came in well or not.
My guess is it probably came in as just the text. I'm suspecting it did not bring a link in.
How
And
would we
if
prove that?
even if you have a fully built out link on our existing exports, it just it just puts out all the text. I'm looking at this and I don't think we have a way around that I'm aware of.
Looking at our create Excel from list, just making sure use Excel formulas is the only other thing that we could try.
That's interesting.
So let's try that again.
I have not used that.
But it does make you wonder, so use Excel formula. Makes you wonder if there's a formula for doing a hyperlink in Excel. Somebody want to ask AI that question?
That's
Anybody know the answer?
I was headed for that too.
If you just format a link, it's just it appears as just text when you look at it, but in the formula bar, it appears as just text. It doesn't. There's nothing, but that's just using the standard functionality.
So let's see. Is there a
So was the link data there? And you just formatted it as a link, but it's a working link still? Or did it just come back as just the name?
I'm sorry, this is my original, and it came back as just text. So we don't know whether it made it in, and we know it didn't make it out.
Yes, looks like there's a function called hyperlink.
Right.
I'll just drop this in the chat. Didn't know that. Now we learned all kinds of new things today.
So hyperlink, probably.
Oh, that's promising.
And yeah, Microsoft doesn't like it, but oh, all right. So let's improve our formula here. It's got to have the
Good.
it opened on my other screen, but it did open. So all
Okay.
right, we got another thing to try here. I'll save that and give it a file, give it a try. So it came in and didn't keep it, but so now that we know that there's a formula, let's try and add a row. I got too many stuff open here, too many Excels. I gotta All right. Once we import it and we create a list is called Excel list. So the question is, could we add a row to it? I think that's add a list entry. We want to add to Excel list the two things. What do we have in there? It was, now I closed it. It was name and link. Surely there's a recent too lazy. I'm trying to get the hyperlink that we just created a minute ago. Formula. So we're adding that, and we need to do it before we create the Excel.
And there was a setting for, did you do that setting for
Formula.
for
I
formulas?
think it's set that way. Let's see if
Okay.
let's see what it comes up. So this is my original. We're still waiting for the other one to pop open here. Excel taking its sweet time to open. Look at that. What is it? Yeah, so this is, oh, nope.
What was that?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, it came in. It worked.
Yeah. Okay. It looks
So
like it took us to a different spreadsheet at first.
yeah, it's I tell you what, I just had a bunch of stuff open. The other if I look
It was
at my,
showing the one that we uploaded when you first, and then
yes.
yeah.
Okay,
We
so
ended up with a good one that had a good hyperlink.
it looked to me like you added the formula that includes the hyperlink into an entry in the list.
Yes.
Did you need to check that additional feature for there's going to be a formula in the export?
So
Okay, right
Yeah,
there.
use Excel formulas, yeah.
yes, use Excel formulas was necessary because it's going to say that it's going to look at that thing and leave it as a formula. Otherwise, it might try to evaluate it and it would just come out with the friendly name, right? So I think that was necessary. And then the solution was that we added our own property.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looping through a list and you're wanting to create these, you can either add the link property to that list or create your list and then create a new list by looping through it and adding properties, but somehow create your own property with this format.
Right. Okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah, that makes it possible to do what I wanted to do. That works well.
So
So
if you take that hyperlink text and put it into your import file, your import table, does it stay as a formula going both ways? Because that would mean you could write it in a SQL query and push it out as text and not have to loop through the list a second time.
Yes, that makes sense. Let's so this would be just like export the SQL, and if we jump over to, like, we could create a SQL query that creates that functionality. So that, and then
Probably on your clipboard.
it might be. Let's try it. Yeah. So you need hyperlink. There. There. Maybe
Thank you.
that look something like what might work.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to use this to create instead of a list from Excel, we're going to say SQL using that query, outputting to Excel list, and we create Excel from the list using Excel formulas. Absolute. So we're going to get a download file. This is the one, output BO33. Just make sure that we're looking at the right thing. You should have users, so it should be pretty clear. So first it's calling up my old stuff. And yeah.
That opened behind, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think I still, okay, something changed.
And
Okay.
end-to-end solution. You just have to format the link correctly and it'll come out.
So I format it as a formula in Excel and just throw that at the Excel action. Well, that's even easier.
So low code wins again. It just took a little experimentation.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's totally doable. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's cool. Now I'd have to file that one away for future use.
Mm-hmm. And then create a link.
So then it makes you wonder what other things Excel offers to be able to, what are be able to take, what else is available to take advantage of as a formula, but certainly
Quite a bit, I'll bet. Yeah.
And then, okay, wait a second. Trying to think about as a, your original question was about a PDF. Do we know
No,
whether?
I don't need PDF. I just needed the Excel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. No, you brought it. You happened to say PDF, and
I
it
did. It
got me
slipped
to
out.
thinking. I would expect a PDF to.
Yeah, I think I've shown in my stuff that
honor
it already works. Yeah.
honor an anchor tag. So yeah, we'll assume that that one is fine. All right, great question. We have just a couple minutes left. Any final comments or before we move into Afterglow?
On your use of the Excel import there, where you my technique has always been to have this sort of dummy table to load Excel into. When you load it into a list like that, is that coming in as a JSON structure? If you wanted to do something to remove or to see what's in that list and manipulate it,
Well,
do you know
it
what
comes
that?
in as a list. Any action that you can run on a list, you can then work with. So, for example, there is list to JSON, and then you can manipulate it to your heart's content.
I just wonder, we have spreadsheets sent to us where somebody's colored something and things like that, and like, oh, are those attributes coming in someplace that attached to that list somewhere? I don't know.
That you could figure out if it was figure out if the attribute was being passed in and you could manipulate it. Yeah.
Right.
So if you took Excel lists like this, include all fields, whatever was in the list is now going to be in JSON.
Okay.
Okay,
so you could just do a list to JSON and then see what's there.
Correct. I think list to JSON might be an action that's just shown up in 125 or 126. So, but yeah, that makes it very easy to get at it. Because Excel can go into a list without any effort, and then it can come out as a JSON, and then whatever you can do to parse JSON. Last week I demonstrated that you could use it to create a table, an HTML table, but whatever you want to do with it, and you can run JavaScript against a JSON, do a lot of stuff with it and manipulate it as well. So lots of choices there. But whether or not it comes in is another question. Let us know.
Right.
All right. Then with that, we've made our hour. I'm going to say happy low coding. Glad that you spent the hour with us, and it's amazing. We always find something to talk about. I'm very glad for the questions, because I don't want to end the episode at halfway through the hour. We always learn something if we keep going. All right. Hang on if you want. I'm going to turn off the recording and we'll go into Afterglow. See you next week.